Drowning is the leading cause of death in children ages 1 through 4. Florida has the highest rate of child drownings under the age of 5 in the nation. May is Water Safety Awareness Month, and we have all the details on how you can keep your little ones safe this summer coming up on Polk Place. Welcome to Polk Place. I'm your host, Lauren Lingell. Joining me in studio, we have Taylor Freeman with the Florida Department of Health. And Taylor, I'm going to totally butcher your title, so please share with us exactly what it is you do.
I am the Community Health Improvement Planner for the Florida Department of Health in Polk County, and it's okay that you're going to butcher it because it's longer than my name on a business card. So basically what I do is I do a lot of work with injury prevention and health equity and a lot of the planning around the county to try to help improve the markers of the health and the quality of life of the residents of our county.
So because Polk County has such a high drowning rate, what's that attributed to?
So we actually are a county that has a lot of water around us. If you haven't noticed, we have lots of lakes, but most of our houses or rental houses or even apartment complexes have pools as well. And so a lot of that is attributed to people either not knowing how to swim, not knowing CPR, or giving improper supervision or barriers to those pools. And so our little ones who are curious at that age toddle right on out there and they go to explore and they don't know how to save themselves if they've fallen into the water.
And the Florida Department of Health has an initiative to kind of help with that education. So tell me a little bit about that.
Yes, we work very, very closely with the Coalition on Injury Prevention of Polk County. I'm actually the co-chair of that group along with Diana DeGroot from Lakeland Regional Health. And so one of the subcommittees that we've formed with that coalition is a drowning prevention subcommittee. So basically what we do is we do a lot of community education, going out and making sure that parents are educated about how to be safe around the water, but also how to be safe when boating, because that's another big thing in our county. And then we have put together a list of swimming lessons to provide with people so that our residents know when, where, and how much they can get their child into swimming lessons for. We promote CPR classes with some of our agencies and things like that. So we're just basically trying to make sure that we promote all areas of water safety education so that our residents are fully informed.
So let's start with, a question that we actually just had before the show. How old does a child, how young is too young or for swim lessons?
Well, in my opinion, you're never too young for swim lessons. A lot of our swim instructors like for the child to be at least 1, but some of them do what is called survival swim lessons, and those can start as young as 6 months old. So basically, as soon as the baby starts rolling over and getting that independent mobility is when they like to kind of introduce them to the water. And at that age, it's more like not being afraid of the water. So they put them in the water, they sprinkle them with water to make sure that they're not afraid of water being on their heads and things like that, and eliminating that fear, because that's what we end up facing with our toddlers who are 2, 3, and 4 going into swim lessons is if they've never been in the water before that, then they're afraid to swim with our instructors. And then they panic, and we all know that when it comes to water, panic is the worst thing to do.
It's not a good thing, no. So these swim instructors, are they through the Department of Health? Are they through this coalition? Where do they come from, and where do they teach? So
we convene through the coalition, but all of the swim instructors are actually from different agencies. So we have some from Infant Swimming Resource, we have some from Abby Grace's Hope Incorporated. We work very closely with the YMCA and the Kindergarten Learn to Swim program, if you know what that is. If you don't, I'll tell you.
Well, I'm gonna have you tell me.
So the Kindergarten Learn to Swim program is actually a program, and it's only in Lakeland right now. We're working on trying to spread it out to the rest of the county. But what they do is we have a certified teacher that comes into the elementary schools and teaches for a week outside of the pool, just in the classroom, teaches kindergartners for a whole week all the rules of water safety. Then the next week, the kindergartners get to go to a YMCA and swim with certified swim instructors for a whole week of lessons. So that's like a really cool initiative that gets our 5-year-olds, and that's our target age, is 5 and younger, is who we're losing to these drowning accidents. So it gets our 5-year-olds to be educated and to be able to know how to swim and to be comfortable around the water, which in turn makes the parents a lot more comfortable as well.
I can only imagine, having, they're big families in this town.
Absolutely.
You got 3 little ones.
Right?
I don't blame you for not being able to keep up
Kids
with
are
all of them.
outnumbering the parents.
Exactly.
I mean.
So tell me about boating. What types of things are a danger besides the water? Or what do boaters and parents need to do to prepare when they take their kids out on the water?
So the big thing with boating is if you own a boat, as an adult, you should also know CPR, because if there is an accident that happens, you really need to be able to start that before EMS gets there. You have no idea how many accidents, about 40% of our drowning accidents could have better outcomes if we had done layperson CPR, which means just a normal, regular public resident doing CPR before the EMS gets there. So if we go ahead and start that, there's a 40% chance, better chance of survival. So that would be the first thing that I would suggest. Also, obviously, if you're going to have anybody on a boat, make sure that they all know how to swim, because even though you might be in the boat, they may jump off, they may fall off, you may take a turn really quickly and they, go over the side of the boat, and they need to know how to swim if they get into the water. Another big thing, especially if they don't know how to swim, is wearing a U.S. Coast Guard approved life jacket. I'm sure that a lot of people don't know, because I have been educating a lot of people about this lately, but you are actually by law required to wear a life jacket if you are 6 or under. So if your child does not have a life jacket on your boat, that is a big, big fine for you as a parent. And then after that, you have to have a life jacket per person that is on the boat with you. They do not have to wear it if they're over 6 years old, but it does have to be on the boat. And if anybody, Florida Fish and Wildlife or anybody like that pulls you over in your boat and they see that you're not there with those life jackets, you're going to get a pretty stiff fine. And then the last thing that I would say about boating safety is your boat is a vehicle. Treat your boat like a car. I know that in the summer we all like to go and boat and have our beer and things like that, but we should not be drinking and consuming alcohol when we are driving a boat, because of the fact that it is a vehicle. There are children around, and you're not the only boater. There are other, even if you don't have children on your boat, there are families that like to go and enjoy our lakes and things as well.
Absolutely. And so in terms of prevention, obviously swim lessons, knowing the rules of boating safety and things like that are very important. But what would you also, I guess, group in there with how we can prevent these drowning accidents from happening?
So there are 2 things that I would say are really important besides the ones that I named with the boating, the CPR and the swim lessons. Supervision is probably the most important thing that we can do for our kids. A lot of our accidents are due to inadequate supervision, because drowning can happen in less than a minute. It can happen in the time that it takes you to leave the pool to go change a load of laundry, or to go pick up your cell phone that you left inside the kitchen. You can come back and your child can already be in the water. So what we're doing at the Department of Health and through the coalition is we're promoting what we call a water watcher tag. And it's this cute little badge that basically says, I'm a water watcher. And the point of it is you're supposed to give it to an adult who is not distracted. So they're not reading a magazine, they're not on their cell phone, they're definitely not drinking. And that person is in charge of scanning the pool to make sure all the children are safe. When that person needs to go to the restroom or things like that, they call another adult over and they hand them over the water washer tag. And it's just kind of like a little reminder, because it's physically hanging around your neck and you can feel it and stuff, that you need to, when you're wearing this, make sure that you're vigilant and keep your eyes on the kids. And the big thing is we want somebody that is designated to do that, because a lot of our accidents happen because there are several adults in the pool and everyone thinks that someone else is watching the child, and nobody is actually watching the child. So that would be one of the big things. And another thing would be to provide fencing or any kind of barrier between the pool and the house. So some of those things are obviously like the pool fences that you have to unroll and unlatch, and they have self-latching and self-closing mechanisms so that a toddler can't reach that lock and just get past them anyway. Another big thing is door alarms on the door that goes out of the house and leads to the pool, because that door alarm will alert the parents anytime someone, especially a toddler, opens the door and goes out. It'll do like 3 little beeps, and that way everybody knows, okay, someone's leaving the house, we need to make sure it's not our 1-year-old, and keep an eye on them. So I would say just make sure that we supervise everybody, and then make sure that we have the proper barriers up between our houses and our pools lessen those accidents.
Those sound like wonderful ways to, really stop something that can be avoided.
Absolutely.
And our children are important to us, and we really need to have our focus on them.
Absolutely. They're our future, right? I mean, who's more important than our kids?
Well, Taylor, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
I think I've learned a lot. I think my mom may have been a little off with some of the things that she taught me growing up, but that's okay. So as long as we get the right words out now.
Exactly. We all learn.
Great. Polk County's child drowning fatality rate remains higher than the state average, with approximately 7 drowning deaths in 2017. With over 500 lakes in Polk County, our residents spend a significant amount of time in and around the water. May is Water Safety Awareness Month, and the Florida Department of Health in Polk County wants you to know it is very important for all Florida residents to be aware of water safety tips to keep a fun family outing from turning into a tragedy. With over 500 lakes in Polk County, our residents spend a significant amount of time in and around the water. Because many are so comfortable near the water, residents may have a false sense of security. Stay safe this summer. For more information on Water Safety Awareness Month, you can contact the Florida Department of Health in Polk County at 863-519-7900 or look them up on the web at www.polk.floridahealth.gov.